Yo, can you guys hear me? My fucking sound be fucking up. Alright.
pictures while I'm calling you. Lonely twin, the left hand. Present myself and get back on track. I don't want this isolation. See the state of me now. Calling the harder with the rifle. 'Cause right now that's the ball where we begin. Shoot it true. I want you in the pictures while I'm calling you. Calling you. Lonely twin, the left hand. Present myself and get back on track. I don't want this isolation. See the state of me now. If I pick it up when I know that it's broken, do I put it back? Or do I
to drop off some art this afternoon for a festival show. I think I didn't get selected for this other art show that was coming up, the Fringe Festival. The one I said I won last year. I think they want to give somebody else a chance to win. Oh, no, Travis. If we let you submit art and you're the best artist, then we're going to have to give you the grand prize again. And you won it last year. So, maybe this year, let's let you sit out and let somebody else win. And it's like, fuck you, bitch. Y'all better tell these university art grads to step their fucking game up. You know what I'm saying? I submitted for that shit a couple weeks ago. Still haven't heard anything back, so I'm just assuming that they don't want Travis Prince to be a part of the Fringe Festival because my shit is too good. But I will be a part of the a different art festival on the 4th. But I have to drop the art off today. So as soon as I finish streaming, that'll probably be my first errand to run. I would have started streaming earlier, but I've been vacuuming and washing clothes and shit. Where the beautiful people at? Beautiful people, clap your hands. Freaky people, clap your hands. Oh yeah. I hate doing chores. That's why I try to go ahead and get that shit done early in the day, so I don't have to worry about that shit later on. What kind of base flour did you use, or did you use like vegetables? I know my aunt made some zucchini pasta one time, cause she has a pasta maker too, but she puts like vegetables and stuff and makes pasta with shit like that, or like some rye pasta, or some she had this other kind of flour she made pasta with one time. That shit was pretty good. But yeah, ain't nothing like homemade pasta. And it was your first time, and that shit still tastes good too. You ain't fuck it up on the first time. That's what's up. Pasta is like, you ain't had no pasta maker? You just rolled that bitch out. Damn, she did it the grandma way. That's why that shit tastes so damn good. You put all that extra time and love into that shit. Kneading that dough, rolling that dough out, then cutting your little strips of pasta. Damn. I rolled that bitch out. It's old school shit. That's how you know that shit gonna taste good. Like this apple. Yo, this shit is a blessing right now. These little gala apples. Oh my god. That's our grandma did that. That's why grandma shit tastes so damn good. She put her hands in that shit. She got touched. Grandma touched every goddamn ingredient with her hands. She got that love juices. You know what I'm saying? Them love juices flow through the pores. That's why when you hug your grandma, it just feels so good because she got that love coming out of pores and shit. So when she go to cook, all that love juice in the pores, that shit get in the food. Because she touching the food with her hands. She got to roll that shit out, man. The hands be all in it. You eat a biscuit, you be like, damn, why this biscuit tastes so fucking heavenly? It's because grandma made that shit. Then you go to KFC and wonder why that shit tastes all dry and cardboard, man. That shit, cookie cutter pressed out, man. That dough is all mixed in some mechanical machine somewhere, man. Ain't nobody touch that shit, put no love in that shit. Yeah, I love that food, man. That's how that shit tastes. That's the best ingredient. Love. I don't care, you put paprika, oregano, a little bit of thyme, some cilantro, some nutmeg, some allspice. Don't nothing taste better than love, but love the best ingredient you can add to any dish. Cherries. A cherry pie don't really taste like cherry pie unless it was made with love. I'm telling you. She done did that pasta shit one time. I watched somebody ask her, yo, MB, you wanna make some more pasta? I ain't making no damn pasta. I did that shit last time. That shit take too long. You know how long it took me to roll that pasta shit out, man? I don't feel like doing that shit right now. But it was so good the last time. I know. I'll make it again in a little while. Not strawberry rhubarb. Oh, damn. I'm going to have to come over for dinner.
I'm gonna go walk all the way to the hills, but you never know what's real. So you have to be prepared. You have to be ready. You have to be ready.
Oh, she donuts too. And fried dough. Fried dough. Exactly the way I like it. Hollywood is alright. Hollywood is raindrops. Jealousy is gone. Jealousy is gone. Singing on the way. There's more to love than that. Jealousy is far down. Jealousy is far down.
Man, I came through with a big fat chain on my neck. Little did they know, no sweat, so I dimmed out, rimmed out, and cracked the glass. 25 pounds, can you match that back? Cause if I'm not, raise up, I got a deal to make. And a couple bad bitches I've been making it break, waking it bake. I put the cake on the plate, jealous freaking me. Oh, wait, I'm a vibe with this. Hollywood, you know I survive this shit. I do that, did that, put your fucking wig back. Gorilla, who loves going in. They wanna hide me down, knock me off, but I'm a line in the downtown. How that sounds?
Hollywood is alright. Jealousy is gone. Jealousy is gone. Sinking on. There's more to love. Jealousy is gone.
You're just what I need. And the same dreams. You know how to roll me. You know how to excite me.
Yeah. I gave MB the moderator position a while ago. So she got the wrench by her name. MB ain't blocked nobody yet. I gave my man Exile the moderator status yesterday. That motherfucker done blocked 3 people in one stream. I was dying. I was dying at that shit, yo. But it was weird, like we was getting like a fucking influx of trolls. I swear, like motherfucking trolls just coming over the hill out of nowhere. What the fuck is this gay shit? And so dude, I noticed you don't paint any white people. It was like 4 or 5 of them in there. He let them roll for a little while. He let a couple of them roll. One dude was rolling, saying some dumb shit. So it's like, you know what? I think you need, what he said, I think you need to go sit in the corner. The next thing I know, block. And then I think he blocked like 2 more people. He blocked 2 or 3 people yesterday. That shit was too funny. Damn. I think you need to go sit in the corner. That shit was too funny. I said, damn, Exile is not playing with these motherfuckers today. He's like, yo, nothing but positivity. Nothing but positivity in the stream. Don't come here with no negative shit. Oh, boy. But these trolls gonna have a hard time now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It feel like I'll block a motherfucker faster for goddamn fucking with my homies in the stream. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you come at my female friends or anything like that, you know what I'm saying? Don't disrespect women in my stream. I know sometimes I say some weird ass off the head shit. I try to apologize. You know what I'm saying? But don't disrespect my homies. Especially don't disrespect women of any type of woman. I'll block your ass. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers coming here want to argue with another viewer in the stream. You know what I'm saying? Now I got 2 people arguing with each other. Another one of these motherfuckers paying attention to the stream. I gotta get one of y'all out of here, man. Causing confusion. And all that name calling, and I be hating that shit. I don't give a fuck about debates. I don't give a fuck if you say what I'm doing is stupid and you don't agree with me and all that shit. Man, I just know some motherfuckers need attention. Some people need, special attention and need a hug and shit. So when them trolls come in, I don't mind fucking with their ass. It'd be funny to me. But Exile? Block. You're out of here. You're out of here. That was too funny yesterday. Damn, that shit was good. Alright, I actually been talking to another couple of models about using some photography. It seems like all the models that I like and I wish I could work with, like 80% of these motherfuckers live in Atlanta. Atlanta is just full of like beautiful black people, yo. Like what the fuck? And I don't even be like seeking out Atlanta people. It's just like I see somebody be like, oh damn, he handsome as shit. Click on this page or something, Atlanta. I'm like, damn, yo, she beautiful as hell. Click on her shit, based out of Atlanta. I'm like, what the fuck, yo? All y'all beautiful motherfuckers live in Atlanta? Your other ones, what? Your pictures? I still have those. I still need to make you a print too. I'm gonna get some prints out because I owe the photographer, I owe them a print of each one of these. I've been said I was gonna give you a print, so that's at least 3 prints I need to get made and get shipped out in the next couple weeks. Oh, I got the other one. That's in the to-do folder. That's where I got these from. I said this is Right now, I'm not really working on the series of anything. I just got pretty ass faces to paint, yo. I just got a folder with pretty people in that shit. And you in that folder. You're in the to-do folder. These are the people I want to do. These are the people I want to paint. I want to make portraits out of these models, is what I'm trying to say, basically. Uh, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, the to-do folder. No. No. Ah. Ta-da. Up. This way. Yes. In the to-do folder. So, I have a couple of nudes. I have this one that I can still paint. I have this one. I actually started this painting and didn't finish it. I started this painting and didn't finish it. And then there was another. Oh, I was just gonna do some drawings, maybe. Yeah. An old picture of me I was gonna draw. I was gonna think about, yeah, like doing some older, like that's me as a kid. And that's my grandmother at the N&H Brown family picnic. I was like 9 years old, 10 years old or something, maybe. I was gonna do this one. Like, just, like, draw it, not even really paint it, but just, like, put it in my sketch pad. What? I'm not gonna talk myself into trouble. I just had to reword that shit for a second. Sounds like I'm trying to get the wrong point across. But yeah, this is a folder of just like little projects I still want to do. Like now, I'm in between. I don't have like a major concept or a major theme that I want to put down on canvas. I'm trying to formulate something. The last one, my original idea was that Complex Ion series, which is just a bunch of naked paintings of me. But I can still add to my nude series with these. I still have a few books in my library that I want to photograph and add to the writer series. So that's always something I can work on and build with. And I don't know, I think I just need to absorb a little more life and I don't know, just see some shit and hopefully over the next couple of weeks get inspired enough to put together another series. I keep looking at these old buildings, and if you're really into my art and you've seen a lot of my yeah, that joint picture be hot, yo. If you see a lot of my work, I like bricks, like painting bricks, especially red bricks. And I live in an area it was a really kind of a metropolitan area back in the heyday doing the coal mining area. But this area had tons and tons of manufacturing and factories and coal breakers, and there was just like tons and tons of industrial work going on in this area for decades. And now that that's all died off, you know, essentially nobody works that way anymore. And there's just like these old buildings, these old factories that are just abandoned and dilapidated. But that shit looks cool as fuck to me. You know what I'm saying? But then I keep thinking like that's what happens when people leave. You know what I'm saying? When we want something, it's the most pristine and most immaculate thing ever. But then when we're done with it, we'll just let it go into disarray. And I just keep thinking like what would happen like for real in like a post apocalyptic, like some real fucking end of the world shit. How would the world look with just fucking cities abandoned with no humans to tend to it for decades, yo? And it'll look like these old ass factories that are fucking chipping away, and the nature is taking it back with all these vines and trees are starting to grow into the fucking brick and shit. So I don't know, I was thinking about just like photographing some of these old ass buildings and factories and calling it post-human or some shit like that, or life without people or something like that. The return of nature. Okay, snuff that. What were we listening to? Oh, the Gorillas.
I'm not gonna cry. I got more time to give.
That's crazy. Like this one dude, I don't think he's ever been to my page before. I don't recognize him. I'm not his follower or anything, but so he visits my Instagram page for the first time and likes one picture. Yeah, just break your fucking phone, Trap. Oh, it's plugged in, dickhead. Oh, fuck. Where'd it go? That's the one picture he liked. Back into overdrive so I can breathe again, photosynthesize again.
Never even knew I'm not gonna. I got more time to give. I'm not gonna find another. I'm not gonna come and say the ways with you. I got more time to give. I'm not gonna cry. Find another. Headline, you tell me that I was wrong, that I disappear. The ball.
Oh yeah, for the most part. I don't know. Does it? Wait a minute. Does my art really give you that impression that I only like painting brown-skinned people, brown-skinned queens? Come on, man. Come on, man. What? Not every painting had. Well, wait a minute. Not every painting had. Well, see. Well, she's brown. Damn. Not every paint. Well, not all my paintings. Some of them are. Well, no, not that one. All right, you got me. You got me. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. My bad, bro. It's a habit, bro. It just be calling me. It be that butter pecan, that dark cinnamon, that chocolate, that mocha. Oh goddamn, vanilla tastes good. But that deep almond, oh my lord. Good gravy. Lord have mercy. You know what I'm saying? That rich caramel. Damn. Damn, boy. It's something about that shit. Everybody on time, on time. Everybody hold on to your inhibition. think this is my new favorite paint.
Messages from my last post, and like y'all was giving me some real good advice. I ain't gonna lie, like I'm still nervous. Mama, let me. I'm riding around in the hood right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is my new favorite painting, yo. Y'all follow this chick right here, 3D Nati.
Mama, let me see her bike. I'm riding around in the hood right now. I tried to get some air in my lungs. So I really suffer from like really, really bad anxiety. So y'all probably see me smiling a lot because I try to convince myself that I'm okay. And right now, I just bought a house. I just purchased some rental property. And this is my first time doing that. I told myself that that's what I wanted to get into for 2018. So I bought some rental property, and I'm nervous because I don't know too much about like real estate like that. So my nerves bad, so I asked my mama, let me see her bike so I can ride her.
Hold on. Where your shit at? Let me see.
Black woman that been such a tough exterior. Used to dealing with men with motives that's ulterior. They quiet with a brain and not a gangster, he a lame. But if you get with a white woman, I call him out his name. Shit, you soul searching about what society may have taught you. I learned the same shit. Shit, I know I play a part too. Had a single mother, know what to give her heart to. Not knowing we were world before making muffin. So I learned how to flirt and break a nigga heart first. Ride his dick till I squirt, then I took kindness for weakness, all that shit thirst. Like why be nice when you used to being hurt? That's why we ride, and niggas with the open nose, bunch of black Chinas, raised by Tokyos, used to be in the backbone, living second childhood, smoking black and mild, so too both to raise their childhood. Damn, this a deep one. About chicks who grow up fast and black men's heart night skies show up last. I'm trying to change that, trying to rearrange that, show holes in my soul, expose what a pain that this shit is a cycle. Even Ayana can't explain that. Tell you the names when I want you to stay. Grandma beat grams, her grandmama told her to pray, but she left me as a black woman that been such a tough.
Yo, her name is 3D Nati. Yo, I've been following her for a minute. Every Monday she does like a exercise like this, yo.
Claim niggas for a refund on my taxes. Besides that, I be passing. But your dick so massive, plus your intellect's attractive. So Jesus take the wheel, cause if I take it, I might crash it. I'm popping like proactive, please don't pop the prophylactics. Can't have kids right now, I'd rather leave them on the mattress. I'm joking, but fuck it, I'm open, I know you know this. Don't know if I really like you or just used to niggas that's bogus. Felons, much like myself, record and coders. Telling anybody who notice how deep your soul is. Got me stalking all on your gram like who that hoe is. Oh wait, that's your mama? See, I'm possessive kinda. I had gay like Donda from the streets, was used to drama. Now I'm peaceful as Yolanda, future brightest Denise and Sandra. But if I had a boo, it would be you that I would honor. Be a wife and baby mama, cut my roster like a lineup. Get a condo in Wakanda, give you sex till you go bonkers. Cause you know in the bedroom I last longer than a Honda. In the streets of beats like
God
Yonkers.
damn.
Kick it like Ryu, fuck Netflix and chillin', jump
God damn, yo. She said she'll get a condo in Wakanda cause in the bedroom, you know I last longer than a Honda. God damn, girl, wait a minute. Oh, god damn, Nati, god damn. Yo, that's why I started following her, yo. I swear to fucking God, yo, she's a goddamn beast. Yo, she's a fucking beast. Bar for bar. Nobody can't fuck with her, yo.
Better have you in your bathroom getting lit like Whitney, shaking your shit like Britney. I like Prince and Mike. Labels use you till they can't and try to dim your light. At least you influential, right? Well, I apologize to the ones that's a fan of me, but I'd rather my sanity before I let them damage me. I like the fact that I can rap and speak candidly. Don't fix the flat ejections for acceptance. For fame, I see men change their sexual preference. I ain't judging. I just ain't telling. I dick sucking is what does it, bitch. I'm buzzing. Without talks of cousins, hustling, bitch. I'm hustling. Flows from Samantha like hammer. You cannot touch them. Kick in my safe. I'm fine. Might go high as Amanda Bynes. And even without my name in the credits, some of them lines are mine. That you rap from your favorite artist. I hear bitches talking, but I don't pay attention unless it pay my mortgage. These rappers are simps, son, a bunch of marches, home releases and thoughts, cartoons, but way too smart. They gonna get on the chart, get used to play a part. Fake fizzle, they beg and start, no drive, they beg and park. Meanwhile, I drive in my own lane. Yo, I'm very woke, this bitch will ship me.
Who won it with her? Who won it with her?
Headed down the wrong way, like J-Lo spit, like take more shit. I'm just trying to bomb and avoid the sentence. Be pinning shit like I'm pointing, pay handsomely, not to mention. People said I was crazy, not signing that deal with Timlin. T dead, and she ain't like it. Now I'm looking like a psychic. Whole life I've been through crisis. Parents used to smoke that right shit. All I got is.
That was on the same beat. Let's see.
Now this is really not C, and before we. The way that was getting my money up. Cause in my answer, these bitches got dumb as fuck. No bars, just headshots and tummy tucks. And now I don't smoke weed, no need, I'm blunt as fuck. See these rappers, they assemble and really seem kinda slow. I'm less Cardi B and more cardio. Making laps around these rap chicks, feel like Danica Patrick. But more
I'm less Cardi B and more cardio. But
you rappers flexing like a baby mama with taxes. Couple plays on Netflix, now you think you a Jackson? I wish your dad would've nutted you in a napkin. Getting bread, you low carb like Atkins. You was getting dough and all that shit was in the past tense. Now my money niggas wanna shack shins. Reinvesting money, flipping like a backspin. Yeah, we Douglas and Bradley, I barely fuck with. Play Pacino, but like Bobby Valentino, you suck dick. Behind closed doors, on tracks selling folklores. Acting hard before, quicker than the brochure. Rappers signing bum ass deals, I'm signing D's. Took 5 months to breathe, still top 5 with ease. Bitch, I'm in the league, doing shit you can't achieve. Shine raw with the sleeve, you in the crowd and I'm sorry for the way that was getting my money up. Cause in my absence, these bitches got dumb as fuck. No bars, just headshots and tummy tucks. And now I don't smoke weed, no need, I'm blunt as fuck. See these rappers, they assemble and really seem kinda slow.
Did I really do that? How did I? Trap, you're a fucking dumbass. How did you do that?
For the way that was getting my money up. Cause in my absence, these bitches got dumb as fuck. No bars, just headshots and tummy tucks. And now I don't smoke weed, no need, I'm blunt as fuck. See these rappers, they assemble and really seem kinda slow. I'm less Cardi B and more cardio. Making laps around these rap chicks, feel like Danica Patrick. But more niggas sleep on me than a Kardashian mattress. Remain humble with the shows across the atlas. But you rappers flexing like a baby mama with taxes. Couple plays on Netflix, now you think you a Jackson? I wish your dad would've nutted you in a napkin. I'm getting bread, you low carb like Atkins. You was getting dough, but all that shit was in the past tense. Now my money niggas wanna shack shins. Reinvesting money, flipping like a backspin. Yeah, we Douglas and Bradley.
She said, now my money is big as one of Shaq shins. Oh, god damn, Nati. Yo, she be having them fucking bars, the flow, the metaphors. Yo, and she ride the fuck out of a beat. Yo, she just fucking ilt that shit. And she's independent. Like she just said, y'all said I was crazy when I ain't signed that deal with Timberland. Oh, now I'm looking like a psychic. Alright, one more. Let's get one more.
I ain't a sister wife, no polygamist. I'm really getting sick of this. Thanksgiving, Christmases, playing you the cheeriest and dipping with your mistresses. Damn, now you want me back cause I realized who I am. Say you miss your fam, niggas ram. Betty Rice said a piece of man is better than none at all. I'm all for unity shit, but not community dick. And to think we were soon to be hitched, I told you peace though. Cause you slung more wood than Home Depot. Won't be for safe keep though. Boy, I'm knowing Nico, neither a jackass. You want that, then call Steve-O. Don't be crying like you a changed man. Cause if I take you back, you gon' be the same man. So you remind me of Rain Man, or at least not the same man. All in my texts and my tweets with a praying hand, cease with that shit. Cause you remind me of Tyrese with that shit. Make me wanna take it to the streets with that shit. Get you and your boys touch like a priest with that shit. Hate you so much like a lease with that shit. All trust out, and to be frank, I'm no longer in the days. Made it out your maze, and speaking of maze, head back to the bus stop. Here's what a your stuff and leave. Could you play more thinking you gon' have two like Norfolk? I ain't a sister wife, no polygamist. I'm really getting sick of this. Thanksgiving, Christmases, playing you the cheeriest and dipping with your mistresses. Damn, now you want me back cause I realize who I am. Say you miss your fam, niggas ram. Betty White said a piece of man is better than none at all. I'm all for unity shit, but not community dick. And to think we were soon to be hitched, I told you peace though. Cause you slung more wood than Home Depot. Want me for sake keep though. Boy, I'm no amigo, neither a jackass. You want that, then call Steve-O. Don't be crying like you a changed man. Cause if I take you back, you gon' be the same man. So you remind me of Rain Man. Or at least not the same man. All in my texts and my tweets with the praying hands. Cease with that shit. Cause you remind me of Tyrese with that shit. Make me wanna take it to the streets with that shit. Get you and your boys touch like a priest with that shit. Hate you so much like a lease with that shit. All trust out. And to be frank, I'm no longer in the days. Made it out your maze. And speaking of maze, head back to the bus stop. Here's where the buck stop. You can get your stuff and leave. Could you play more thinking?
Yeah, she's dope as fuck, yo. I'm trapped on social media. Alright, let me get off this shit. And find something educational. Ooh, yeah.
One might argue that the journey is just as important as the destination. When you're traveling at high speed through interstellar space, this takes on an entirely new dimension.
Yo, 3D is the shit, yo. Oh, trust and believe. I try to put a lot of people on, yo, and I went to Instagram, and the first feed was.
We recently discussed the concept of a generation shift.
She just posted a selfie, so I liked it. Then I had to go to her page and see if she got some new raps up there, yo. Every time I see some new shit, yo, I gotta fucking check out all her new raps. Yo, she be going in, son. She's going in. Every Monday morning she put out a new show. And this dude right here, this is yo, I seen that shit, bro. Now who did it? How did it happen? But that shit was crazy. And this is another guy I listen to right here a lot. This is Science and Futurism with Isaac Author, and he puts out a new episode every Thursday today. So this is a brand new episode. He just put it out. "33 minutes ago." Oh yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. You blocked him, he dubbed your account and came back in with your name? That's fucking ridiculous. Maria. Yeah, that was weird. That was really weird as fuck. Yeah, that is weird as hell. Yeah, I'm about to start getting on this one right now. But yeah, damn, I already been in for an hour. All right, guys. All right, all right. Let me start this episode. This is Generation Ships, the Exodus fleet. And so I guess this is what did he classify this under? Um, yeah, the Upward Bound series. So this is the new episode from Isaac Author. Generation. It comes from the Generation Ship compendium of this is Exodus fleets, and let's see what his hypothesis is for some ways that we could create, a ship that would be able to contain, people for multiple generations and sustain life in space for multiple generations. What the fuck?
I might argue that the journey is just as important as the destination. When you're traveling at high speed through interstellar space, this takes on an entirely new dimension. We recently discussed the concept of a generation ship, a type of interstellar vessel designed to cross the vast expanse of deep space and keep its crew alive, or at least their descendants, as such voyages can take many decades or even centuries to reach the nearest stars. During that episode, we also discussed some alternative approaches, such as freezing people or using robots, cyborgs, or artificial intelligence to do the job. Concepts and technologies which have emerged in recent times, and which, even if they don't replace the generation ship, are likely to be incorporated into it to address some of the problems which emerge as we learn more about space travel. And we'll be exploring those new problems and potential solutions as we follow up on that first episode. Today, we will be looking mostly at the ships themselves, the engineering concerns associated with getting such ships up to speed, keeping them powered during flight, and slowing them back down when they arrive. Next time, we'll look more at the problems of transporting whole ecologies on such ships, and transplanting them to alien worlds.
shut me down, yo. If my stream, if the stream freezes or lags out or some shit, man, you already know it's the government. Come on, YouTube.
Exporting ore. And we'll follow that with a deeper look into the psychological and sociological difficulties in Ark of a Million Years. But for today, our focus is on that core ship. How do you get it moving? How do you keep it powered? Repair it, maneuver it around obstacles, and finally, slow it down on arrival. Big problems. And part of the solution to those big problems is with big ships. They can carry more shielding proportionally than smaller ones. They can carry more people, of course, allowing not just more hands to work on a problem, but a wider range of specialization and expertise. They can also carry more backups. But no matter how much we prototype these ships, there's always a risk of catastrophic failure from something deemed acceptably improbable or simply something we didn't even know was a danger. So in this regard, it's not just about a ship carrying more backups and redundant components, but having backup ships. Not just a colony ship, but a colonial fleet. Yet our title, Exodus Fleet, does not simply refer to one such colonial fleet migrating out from our solar system. We've discussed forced colonial ventures before. Today we're a bit more interested in when interstellar colonization has entered its pinnacle phase. Not one or two early experiments to near systems, but a massive operation hundreds of years later. In the Outward Bound series, we looked at a lot of colonization of our solar system, and indeed even colonizing the Oort cloud, and our first trip to Alpha Centauri. In those videos, we've usually taken a few minutes to reference how this or that interplanetary colony could serve as a foundation for interstellar travel. We will not repeat all of that today, but what we saw was a budding solar empire gearing up to levels of industrial might that dwarf anything we have nowadays, decades after the Industrial Age. They have room and resources for trillions or even quadrillions of people to live with a degree of prosperity that would awe kings. These are also civilizations that probably do not regard our solar system as having 8 planets. For all the discussion of Pluto and other dwarf planets, it's easy to forget that originally we had 2 classifications, minor and major planets. Dwarf planets were added in between later, and arguments about that topic have tended to eclipse that there are nearly 1 million identified planets in our solar system. These may be minor planets, but each one can be home to new civilizations and nations, and those living on them are likely to view the solar system as quite a cluttered place, consisting of much more than a sun, 8 planets, and some other stuff. Similarly, they will probably better realize what we tend to overlook in discussions of colonization, that we will want to colonize every star system, directly from this solar system, within at least a few hundred light years of us, and that those number in the hundreds of thousands. We will not be building a handful of colony ships. We will be building millions of them over the course of a few centuries, launching dozens or even hundreds of them every single day. Ships carrying tens of thousands of people and measuring kilometers in length, probably each taking years to build an outfit, so that at any given time, the dry docks of the solar system may have 1 million or more vessels under construction. Such a task seems daunting, and yet only a civilization creeping up on full solar colonization, what we call a Kardashev II civilization, has any motive to send out more than a few colony ships. Until mankind has settled most of those million minor planets, until we number ourselves in the hundreds of trillions, if not quadrillions, there are only a few reasons to settle another solar system. Even just a few colonies outside our solar system get some of our eggs out of the solar basket. Plus the voyage gives you a lot of data and experience for doing it in the future, and the work of colonizing a system on the other end does too. Simulations, even incredibly realistic ones, can never match the real thing since the simulators can't program in what they don't know. Unmanned probes can tell us a lot, but manned trial voyages make sense to acquire real data to overcome and adapt to any unforeseen issues in future missions. But beyond that, you have no real reason to colonize more until it is practical and desirable. But once you do, it makes sense to do it big. You have the resources to do it big too, if you can do it at all. because all the devices and tech that let you miniaturize such missions also make it easy to go about it in a grand fashion. A self-replicating von Neumann probe sent to colonize and terraform the galaxy can stop at its first destination and get to work replicating copies of itself, then terraform that system while some of the copies journey to new ones. Or it can just stop at the nearest asteroid in our own solar system and replicate there first. Or it can just build tons of giant spaceships humans could man, too. It's hard to guess how humanity will roll out to the stars, but just as two examples, on the extremes, we might grow our population locally on the slow side, just 1 to 2% population growth a year, as we have in the last century, and sometime around the year 3000, as we're filling up most of the easy targets in our solar system, and number around a quadrillion people, decide we need to build several million ships, and send them all off crewed with tens of thousands of people each. Such an endeavor would use up not even a single % of our economy to build by that point, even if we were doing it with modern production rates, and use such a small % of our population that most of us may know only a single colonist who was a casual acquaintance at most. On the flip side, someone might get a clanking self-replicator going in the next few decades. Indeed, I'd actually be surprised if that did not happen. And such things are not, in and of themselves, dangerous in the way popular culture imagines Skynet or any sort of grey goo. Nothing very sophisticated need necessarily be involved, and it's certainly possible, since nature and humans produce stuff all the time. The difference being that nature's modern complexity is the byproduct of billions of years of trial and error corrections, and humans are smarter than our factories and can function in a versatile fashion when incorporated into one, saving a lot of trickier steps in automation. Were that to occur, we could start building giant ships in space a few years later, and if we could talk 100 million people, about 1% of our population, into getting on board these, say 100,000 people to a ship or a small fleet of ships, we could launch 1,000 expeditions a year later and settle most of the star systems within 100 light years of us. There's no ifs on that, no other missing technologies. All you need is a self-replicating machine, be it a tiny nanorobot or a factory complex, that before breaking down is able to make 2 complete copies of itself and do at least some other work while it's at it, like refining metal and making simple hull plates for a ship. All the other tech we discuss here can help with that, making it easier and better, but nothing else is actually needed. It's making all these interstellar ships small enough we can build them, and yet still large enough to be able to survive the journey with its crew and equipment intact. That's hard and high tech. Here on SFIA, we tend to like to incorporate fusion into spaceships, tech we don't have yet, but if we've got it, that gives us interstellar travel, as it would be capable of providing the necessary speed, the power to live through the journey, and the ability to slow down on arrival. That last one is the trickiest part. Since we have discussed fusion a lot for spaceships, today we are going to look at an alternative. There's quite a few, but we settled on the lowest tech and the fastest one we could come up with. This will incorporate the star laser we looked at in colonizing the sun, a stupidly powerful and long-range laser that requires little more than large mirrors orbiting close to the sun. We will also use fission or radioactive decay power plants for the journey's power source, explosives for any fast maneuvering, and we'll review a few options for slowing down. Fusion is still nicer, even if you are using the star laser to get up to speed, since it's all self-contained, but it isn't actually necessary. Ship size is also highly variable, as is overall design, and is ultimately very dependent on available technology. The higher your tech, the smaller your ship can be and safely bring along everything you need, but this is mostly a matter of scale. Hypothetically, while a generation ship could cross the cosmos at 1% of light speed or lower, this should never be necessary. We should have no problem at all keeping a laser on a big target like several square kilometers of reflective sail till way out past Pluto. And if the ship and crew can handle a 1g acceleration, the equivalent of normal gravity, they'd be out past Pluto in just 2 weeks, and cruising off at 4% of light speed, arriving at Alpha Centauri in a century, and any of those 1,000 or so nearest solar systems in under 2,500 years. This is, incidentally, slow enough to break from using some of our existing fission-based designs. This is important since you have to be able to slow down on arrival, but we'll come back to that in a bit. The longer you can keep that laser on the ship, the faster it can go, and speeds far in excess of 4% or even 40% of light speed are on the table. We talked about that more in Interstellar Highways, but to do this, you need to either make the sail bigger or the laser more focused, and eventually that becomes impractical unless you have stations all along the way, helping out to refocus the beam or emit one themselves. Those stations need power, and your ship needs power once it's off from the laser. And keep in mind, once your light days away from the source, they need days to even be aware that there's a problem if the beam goes off target. Also, it doesn't have to be a light beam. Microwaves are handy, as we discussed in power satellites. So is a particle stream. For that matter, you could do what we decided to call a Pac-Man ship, one that catches up on supply or fuel pods launched ahead of it and eats them, or where the pods are launched afterward but faster and catch up to the ship. The big constraint on acceleration with a manned ship is what the crew and cargo can handle, so a pod whose structure and contents can handle 100 Gs instead of 1 can accelerate to a final speed 10 times higher than the manned ship could on the same track length for however far your laser can stay on target. Trying to coordinate all those pods to reach the ship, or be caught up to by the ship, at the right time and place, and at a speed it can intercept safely, is a bit tricky, but you can afford to lose some of those. Moreover, it means the ship needs some way to maneuver a little bit. We want that anyway, though, so that it can change directions to a new system if something turns out to be wrong with their destination as they approach. The most logical one for this setup would be an ion drive. They are slow to accelerate, but provide a great acceleration to fuel mass ratio, so long as you're patient. They can let you make some course corrections and grab some supplies, and firing them up occasionally to do that also helps make sure they are still working as they should. We'll get to what's powering them in a moment, but those pods represent our first example of what we mean by a colonial fleet. They can be strung out behind and in front of you, gathering information, acting as relays from back home if signals are getting weak, or if you're off your original course, giving you advance notice about any dangers in front of you, mapping out the destination system and alternate systems ahead of you, and so on. Now, if you do see something dangerous in front of you, you have a number of ways to deal with that, and the sooner you see it, the better. We talked about that more in the Interstellar Travel Challenges episode, but if you haven't got much time to dodge something ahead, you either need to vaporize it, which takes power or explosives, or dodge it quick, which an ion drive can't do. Ironically, shaped explosive charges on your outer hull are probably best. They can sit there for long times and still be detonated as fast as thought, or even your navigation computer's thought. So long as you're not getting excessive, it can give you a quick shove to the side without damaging the ship or killing everyone inside from too fast of an acceleration. You don't want to be standing on the ground of a rotating section of a ship when it suddenly bucks at 5 Gs for a second, and you find yourself 25 meters off the ground and falling back down. Needless to say, everything in there just experienced that too. So as you plummet, you're doing that alongside all those nice ponds and forest critters you've landscaped in there. So the ships want to do the minimum shove, and you do want that automated so it can react as fast as possible, and with the smallest shove needed to dodge some unseen rock it can't vaporize in time. The case we just mentioned was extreme, and potentially very lethal to many inside, but less so than getting hit by a few kilograms of relativistic space debris, and having a computer figuring out what the options are and picking the least horrible action is ideal. This is another reason you want a fleet, not a ship. The bigger your ship is, the harder it is to dodge, and ultimately you have to worry about any one lone ship getting destroyed by an improbable event. However, a pack of ships moving together, but say 100 kilometers apart from each other, gives us a lot of redundancy. They don't need to actually leave or arrive at the same time either. They can use a little slow thrust to get into formation for the long voyage. And at 100 kilometers apart, nothing they could encounter would cause a chain reaction threat to each other. Even a ship with an antimatter drive isn't carrying so much energy that if it exploded, it would destroy its siblings at that range. It's still close enough for shuttling back and forth, too. These ships may all be plowing through space at a decent percentage of light speed, but they are not moving relative to each other, and there's no air to cause drag between them, so a shuttle can just pop back and forth between such ships. That wouldn't take much fuel, but it doesn't actually have to take any. Truth be told, those ships don't really need to be that far apart, but this is space, and they can just launch tetherless between each other for a pod to ride around on. Indeed, if they got enough tetherless, and those are strong enough, they can actually use those as winches to move each other around. It's weird to think of them this way, but in many ways, for these long voyages through emptiness, these are not ships, they are space stations, and they could assemble all sorts of stuff between each other during the mission. Indeed, they'll sit out at the outer corners of a very large thin mirror, being used to keep a beam on them longer than was otherwise possible. Once they are at cruising speed, everything is relatively stationary, so they can drop a telescope off to the side, extend pods out to serve as temporary extra space, and so on. All of these ships are likely to have a lot of manufacturing capability of their own, and considering the voyage duration, a temporary structure behind the ship made for some extra elbow room that has to be dropped in and recycled eventually isn't likely to be a concern, as temporary is decades or centuries. Your big concern in that regard is that, depending on your speed, you have a rather large radiation wind coming in from plowing through the interstellar medium. The faster you go, the worse this is. The faster your exterior add-ons will break, and the shorter you will get to use them. So there's presumably a velocity at which these shanty towns around your armada get pointless, though you can also carry such things behind you, shielded from that by your ship. The other handy part about those multiple ships is that when the time comes, they can all split up from multiple destinations, rather than just one planet in a solar system. You wouldn't be likely to head straight for a planet you want to terraform. It makes more sense to set up your space infrastructure first when you arrive, rather than landing and having to rebuild all that launchability when you need it, which is probably right away, since a planet needing water for terraforming is best bombarded with icy comets before you start building homes on it. But what is powering everything? Initially that's the laser beam, of course, and they can turn that on low and just let it send a decent trickle of diffuse power for quite some time after you'd be out of main pushing range. Potentially, this works for the whole trip, but I personally wouldn't trust that on its own. After that, of course, if you've got fusion, that would be nice. But if not, we have both fission and passive decay, radioisotope thermoelectric generators. Fission is handy on such ships. Pound for pound of fuel, it's almost as energy dense as fusion. And if radiation and waste is a concern, you can tow it behind you and kick your trash out the side, where it will sail off into the void, never to trouble humanity again. Unless a big wad of fission product slam into some alien civilization's homeworld at relativistic speed, of course, which might cause a diplomatic incident. But an RTG holds some interest for us too. These produce a nice, long, stable, albeit inefficient power supply. And so long as you pick an isotope with a half-life similar to your voyage time, you have an object supplying energy and heat, which ships need in the interstellar void, that is so dumb simple and durable that it is foolproof. Many of them would ironically make excellent radiation shielding too, and decay the byproducts that are quite safe and handy. If you're worried about skills and abilities being lost during a voyage of many centuries, or even millennia, a bunch of RTGs running some very sturdy LED lighting might keep a habitat lit that whole time and livable. I wouldn't want to bet my colony on it though, since you have a lot of time for things to break, hence why you need an onboard manufacturing ability and the expertise to use it. But there's not many things as sturdy or reliable as an RTG. Okay, now the big challenge, slowing down. Reaching your destination as fast as possible is nice, but the faster you go, the harder it is to slow down, and we would like to do that with no fuel. At all, not one drop. This is easy on Earth. If you want to slow down, just wait. Friction and drag will get the job done. But in space we have neither, except we actually do. There is no vacuum, just relative degrees of emptiness. And the faster you are going, the more you are slowed when you hit any random speck of space dust. As on Earth, we can slow down faster by extending a parachute, so we hit more space dust. This won't be viable to slow you all the way down probably, but every bit of speed you can lose this way saves you fuel. A lot too. Under the classic rocket equation, a ship that massed a megaton, half fuel, half payload, changes speed 69% of whatever the exhaust velocity of that propellant is. To do double that, it would need 750 kilotons of fuel and 250 kilotons payload. And to quadruple that, it would need to be just 60 kilotons of payload and 940 of fuel. So even though your parachute might cost a lot of mass itself, if it can let you slow down from 40% of light speed to just 10%, that is an immense savings in fuel. Another option is the Bussard ramjet, which originally looked promising as a way to propel a ship by having it magnetically suck in passing hydrogen gas and slam it down a nozzle to collide and fuse and produce thrust. Only on examination, it turned out that it would actually lose more energy than it would take in, causing the ship to slow down. Not good for propulsion, but just fine for braking. And so too, a magnetic field dragging on a huge volume of charged particles in the interstellar void is also a good giant parachute. Somewhat energy demanding though. Similarly, that physical parachute, even if it's just a couple molecules thick, has to be rather massive, though you could probably use it for forward shielding or make it during the voyage. Stick it out to slow you down, drag it back and recycle it once you've slowed and it's taken damage. Ideally, we'd like to use a laser to slow us down, but there isn't one on the other end yet. This is one case where extra ships are handy, as you can all transfer a lot of fuel to one ship in your fleet, have it pick up some extra speed while slowing its sister ships down so it arrives sooner, and then build us the laser at the destination to slow them down. Robotic probes could do this, or even a satellite which simply includes the mirrors needed for the laser. Of course, the point of such a pushing laser is to focus light. As you approach a star, you will be getting more and more anyway. Even a probe with a rather large solar sail won't slow down too much before ramming into the star this way, but if it is concentrating that light to shoot behind it, or power a laser beam, it could push on another probe behind it, which can slow more and thus have even longer to decelerate from light from that new sun, as can the one behind it. Indeed, they can do some sun diving and use that mirror breaking on the sun's atmosphere before colliding or disintegrating to slow even more, giving them more time to push on their siblings. Each one of these can be taking more and more detailed photos of the system as they go in, and as this chain proceeds, you eventually get one slow enough to finish breaking in the sun's upper atmosphere without being destroyed. And now you have a big mirror near the sun, and then another, and now you have a still laser that can push on your incoming fleet. Small self-replicating probes might be nicer, but this is a comfortably low-tech approach that works and involves no dangerous AI either, though at least AI used here are just a few months or years ahead of your armada, not roving hundreds of light years ahead and mutating outside your scrutiny. You could also use these probes to skim past the star, do a course correction, and keep bouncing light to their siblings. Their way out to the next star. It's a little debatable if we can say this doesn't use fuel, since you are still using mass for those probes, but overall, it's a nicer approach than most others on the table with our current tech. And of those, the most obvious one is probably to slow down by launching hydrogen bombs in front of you. Of course, that works for these too, since they are essentially just a giant sail, and they could detonate a bomb quite a long way ahead and slow down on that themselves, which gets around the problem of detonating a nuke right in front of your manned ship. The nice thing is you only need that last probe, or last two probes, to carry a full-size pair of mirrors for a laser, and the number of ships and mass of those ships doesn't matter too much toward that, especially since you could send in another bigger pair of mirrors for that first laser to slow down. Your whole fleet can now slow down, as can any subsequent vessels following behind you, who can follow even faster now that the infrastructure is in place. Down to more modest planetary speeds, you can use the usual array of methods to finish slowing if you need to. Not all of those require fuel either. For instance, gravity assist, so often used for speeding ships up, can also be used to slow them down. We'll look more at how big these ships need to be in our next installment of the series, Exporting Earth, in order to contain all the ecology we need. But for today, we've established that even just with current technology, we've got what we need to reach other solar systems, far faster than the original generation ship concept envisioned. So we were talking about how to get out beyond our solar system today, and how we'd be able to use the sun to power those efforts. While the basic principle is sound, there's still so much we need to understand about our own sun before we can visit other ones. There's a lot of other reasons to go study the sun up close, and our friends over at Cheddar have just released a video discussing those reasons and what NASA is doing to find out more. I'll link it in the video description. They've been sponsoring science videos like this one, and recently started their own channel covering topics like this and many more, and I suggest checking it out. And don't forget to subscribe while you're there.
Hey guys, I'm Patrick Jones from Cheddar, and I'm here today because we made a video that I think you're really going to like. It's all about 2 upcoming missions from NASA and the European Space Agency to study our sun. So if you like Isaac's channel like we do, we think you'll like our video and our channel, so come on by.
Next week we have a 2-parter, as we team up again with Joe Scott of Answers with Joe. We'll examine 5 ways the world might end, then what we could do to prevent those happening. The week after that, we'll be discussing what sort of careers folks might pursue in an increasingly automated workforce, in Jobs of the Future. For alerts when those and other episodes come out, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button and share it with others. Also, as a quick note, I did an interview with Matt Ward of Fringe FM a little while back, and I'll leave a link to that in the video description too. Until next time, thanks for watching, and have a great week. Being a technological civilization, it is rather hard to think of a bigger brain as a disadvantage, but as we'll see today, that is often the case. So today, we will be wrapping up our look at the great filters of the Fermi Paradox. Those conditions that are thought to act as major hurdles to technological civilizations arising in the universe. Previously, we looked at those conditions for the planet that might make intelligence uncommon, but today we want to look more at the evolutionary steps to get to human-level intelligence, and also the hurdles you need to pass once you have that to get to true technology. Now, for all purposes today, when I say intelligence, I am principally referring to human level. We often use the terms sentience or sapience to further subdivide levels of intelligence, but the definition of sentience is terribly vague and can be interpreted to include pretty much anything with sensory apparatus and a basic brain, whereas sapience is not really in the common lexicon and essentially means wisdom. Since wisdom is a trait often lacking in some humans, and also a trait not necessarily required for technology, I am disinclined to use that either. So we'll be sticking with human-level intelligence, and I think context will make it fairly obvious when I mean any intelligence at all, or human level. As always with the Fermi Paradox, since it is a question of why we can't see or hear any aliens, it is also important to remember that at the moment, that only means aliens with modern technology or better. Our brains are more or less identical to the folks who first figured out agriculture and metalworking, but we could not detect such a civilization ourselves right now. So it turned out going beyond that point was very uncommon. You got your answer to the Fermi paradox right there. And it might be uncommon. We'll spend the last section of the episode discussing that, and challenging our general assumption that once you have tool and fire use and sufficient brains, you inevitably transition to high technology. But before that, let's consider some key steps of evolution needed to get to more or less modern man. There are quite a few of them, and even those which have happened more than once so that we cannot view them as a fluke, often took a lot of time, which is another key point of the Fermi paradox. The universe is young, and the period in which life could plausibly have existed is shorter than that. The odds of a given solar system having life should generally tend to increase with time too, except where changing conditions could make a planet uninhabitable, such as the sun it is around growing hotter over time and sterilizing it. A key aspect of the Great Filters approach of the Fermi paradox is that it is not about if a planet might eventually support a technological civilization. It's about whether or not they already do, and currently do, for a given value of current, since light and signals take a long time to travel. So as an example, over a long enough period of time, any given planet that had basically identical initial conditions as Earth ought to produce life. But we do not know what those conditions are, or what the mechanism is, in any rigorous sense. If we assume it is underwater thermal vents, a planet with less of them should take longer on average to produce that first abiogenesis event. And yet, we do not have a good fix on when life began on Earth. The most optimistic model is 4.28 billion years ago, while the oldest undisputed life is at 3.5 billion years. That is between 130 million years and a full billion years for life to arise after we had oceans. And for my part, I have to raise an eyebrow at some people who refer to that time duration as almost instantaneous. We are also making a big assumption to think that is an average. That is justified by the mediocrity principle, which tells us that when we only have one example of something, or even just a few, we should assume that example is fairly normal. But that's just a generalized approach to take in ignorance. If you land on an isolated island, and the first person who greets you is wearing a hat and carrying a pair of binoculars, it is a good idea to assume that is normal here until you meet other folks. Except that the binoculars probably are the reason that person was the first one to greet you. Nonetheless, the mediocrity principle is usually a good first approach. Not, however, when you are dealing with a circumstance that has the word paradox in it. We label stuff that way when the available evidence makes the situation seem impossible or freakishly improbable. At that point, you want to challenge any circumstances where you haven't got a lot of data and are making assumptions. We already know abiogenesis is horribly improbable, because the requisite chemicals and conditions existed in the trillions, interacting constantly, and still took a long time to go from that to alive. A man who wins the lottery on his 10th ticket with no other data thinks that that is normal enough and will, by the mediocrity principle, assume most folks win after about that many. And if winning the lottery comes with having to go someplace to pick up the prize, most folks he meets there will be big outliers themselves too. It's only when you actually know the number of winning and non-winning tickets that you truly understand the odds. Before that, it's just guessing. So the question is really just, is this abiogenesis event so freakishly improbable it takes countless quintillions of atoms 100 million years to produce a basic life form, or just a bit more freakishly improbable so that it would normally take the sample 1 trillion years to cough up a life form, but we lucked out early? Up until the moment we can model the probabilities for a given solution producing a basic life form, we cannot say. And there are probably many thousands of valid most basic life form configurations, and a wide spectrum of specific environments they can emerge from. We haven't got a clue if abiogenesis happens on short timelines in virtually any plausible chemical soup, or was a 1 in a million event to have occurred here that fast, and should be a great filter all on its own. I will categorize it as a possible great filter, but we will otherwise bypass it today. One other thing to keep in mind, though, is that while we have a window for life to have emerged that's about 800 million years wide, from 3.5 to 4.28 billion years ago, if life did arise on the early end of that, it means the next big steps took a lot longer, making them much better filters. Unicellular life, initially in the form of bacteria and archaea and later joined by eukaryotes, ruled alone over the Earth for billions of years before multicellular life came about 900 million years ago. But even that immense time span does not do justice to the sheer generational scales involved. Some bacteria can multiply once every 20 minutes in ideal conditions, but let's be conservative. Say they would have multiplied once only every 5 days. That is still 2 trillion generations to the dawn of multicellular life, which is comfortably more than the 1.5 trillion stars in our local group of galaxies. That doesn't even count the number of actual organisms, only the number of generations. Mammals multiply considerably slower, in the order of months at the quickest and a decade or more at the slowest, and we have only had 320 million years since our early synapsid ancestors to multiply. Looking at generations alone, mammals are effectively nothing more than a blink of an eye when compared to the unicellular realm. We are dwarfed into obscurity when we further compare the sheer population sizes involved. So even though multicellular organisms appear to have evolved separately on many occasions, leading us to reasonably believe that this is not a particularly improbable event, it's worth remembering that it still was less probable in terms of raw generations and population than every other mutation mammals have experienced combined. Some mutations did result in revolutions, even amongst the unicellular organisms, like the development of photosynthesis in cyanobacteria 2.1 to 2.7 billion years ago that ultimately changed our atmosphere to become oxygen-rich. This provided a vaster energy source serving as the bottom of the food chain, and a much bigger total population, and that speeds up mutation by allowing more events. Another big one was being able to share mutations through viruses and plasmids, allowing for the sharing and swapping of genetic material. When organisms can't swap DNA, then you can have billions of mutations going on, but only in series. Another big step forward was sexual reproduction about 1.2 billion years ago. That sped things up too. In a way, we can think of that as when evolution really kicked into high gear. 2 critters of fairly similar DNA classified as the same species, rather than every organism simply self-dividing and diverging from those around it. And that took about 2 to 3 billion years. Had it taken even just 4 billion, our own sun, which is constantly getting warmer, might have rendered the Earth increasingly barren and eventually uninhabitable before we arrived. So this entire sequence of events could be seen as a pretty strong filter too. Yet it doesn't particularly interest us today either. Our focus is more on intelligence. That can be a fairly arbitrary term, and to make things worse, we also have good reason to believe muscles, neurons, and even brains, for a given value of brain, have evolved separately more than once too. It's not something limited to vertebrae. Indeed, since many plants demonstrably react to their environments, the only reason we can say plants won't evolve brains is because they simply provide too much cost for too little benefit to them. That, though, is a big thing to remember. Most tiny animals have way more generations than we do, connecting them back to our common ancestor, and in that sense, they can be seen as more evolved. They reproduce faster and in larger numbers, both in terms of litter size and often total population. Your cat is more evolved than you are. Indeed, chickens, rats, and rascally rabbits even more than they. Yet they're not that smart, and very generally, the faster and more numerous a species reproduces, the dumber it is. You nod now. Brains are big energy investments, take a long time to grow, and that is true and important. But at the moment, think of it in the sense of catching up. Some species evolved a cool new trait that makes it breed slower and in fewer numbers, and all its rival species have a lot of room to narrow that gap. It's been around 1,000 human generations since our mutual ancestors started keeping cats and dogs around, but for them, it's been more like 10,000 generations. Add to that, we have been bootstrapping at least dog evolution during that time, and often breeding for intelligence. Chimpanzees, at least, one of our closest relatives and competitors for intelligence, do take a long time to reproduce, pretty parallel to humans, and again that comes from the long development time for brains. And most of the other critters that are demonstrably smarter than cats or dogs have generations much longer than a year or two. That is one of the first markers about intelligence. It is an expensive investment, not just to run a big brain, but to grow one in the first place. It takes a long time while the young critter in question is highly vulnerable and realistically cannot fend for itself. We cannot rule out that some alien might be human-level intelligence, yet use the strategy of laying thousands of eggs and leaving them to fend for themselves, but it does seem quite unlikely. More important than that is recognizing that higher intelligence is not, as we usually think of it, automatically beneficial. Quite to the contrary, even ignoring the upkeep cost in growing and maintaining a big brain, it has some big disadvantages. I can toss you a ball and you can catch it, so can your dog. Whether you realize it or not, it took an insane amount of brain power to pull that off. What we think of as a conscious mind is a tiny little iceberg tip poking out from a massive supercomputer below the surface, and in many ways it's less of a peak than several, acting like a committee. A basic reactionary brain is very helpful. It reacts fast and gets stuff done. Your conscious mind is more like a committee discussing everything. Picture someone feeling thirsty and grabbing a sip of water, versus some huge committee meeting to discuss water safety standards and a year later releasing a 300-page report. That big brain is wonderful for developing complex and abstract strategies, and thus science and technology and poetry. But it's not great for dealing with a lion jumping out of the bushes to eat you. Simple, fast action is typically the best, and a big brain that likes to stop and ponder stuff can get you killed. And in fact, it did get us killed a lot back in the day. We did not evolve as an apex predator, and if you told just about anyone from pre-modern times that we should be worried about lions or wolves going extinct, that notion would be so bizarre to them, they'd probably assume you meant to say we should be worried about it not happening fast enough. Now, it would be silly to say, on a planet dominated by human technology, that bigger brains don't help with surviving, but there is a threshold, and probably a fairly narrow maze to navigate in evolving a brain capable of complex abstraction and problem solving without it becoming a survival hindrance. Tons of critters have big brains. Most of them have had them for more generations than we've had our human or near-human level one. So either the next couple key steps require a lot of improbable flukes, or most of the time, any improvement isn't an actual improvement from a survival perspective. We still know so little about intelligence, human or animal, that it is impossible to call this transition zone an improbable one. But it is my own best guess for the biggest filter on going from animal to human intelligence. Relatively large brains have been around a long time, and in species that have had many generations. So simply getting a bigger brain itself is no problem. It's getting one that doesn't become a survival threat. And when you consider the sheer amount of resources we have to pour into a kid, or that chimps or dolphins or elephants do, compared to even a rat, let alone an insect, we can see how that happens. High intelligence and conscious thought are often going to represent a fatal disadvantage to a creature in a species, not an advantage. And breeding slowly with huge inputs of resources didn't advantage humans much until we had it for a long while. There are so many occasions in the last couple million years where we barely clung on, rather than dominating the ecosystem as now. Keep in mind, most of the folks in our genus aren't around anymore, and there's no consensus that we did any of them in, let alone every species of them. There's a sci-fi novel by biologist Peter Watts called Blind Sight that explores this in more detail. He makes some very strong arguments about how valuable intelligence and consciousness really are in there, and I strongly recommend it. I don't want to spoil it, since it is also our SFIA August Book of the Month, sponsored by Audible, and is essentially a mystery, so it's hard to discuss without spoilers. But if you didn't find my arguments about higher intelligence to be universally good or particularly compelling, I'm sure his will do the job. It definitely shakes up the conventional view of intelligence, and offers an interesting solution to the foaming paradox. Regardless, species have survival strategies, and the big brain route requires committing to a few: small littles, long upbringing time, long lives, and heavy interdependence. Lone wolf species are not well suited to benefit from giant brains, too likely to die before reaching maturity without protection, too hard to benefit from specialization when you need to be a jack of all trades. But just because you've broken that barrier into a reasonably human-level brain doesn't mean the job is complete. Once you've made that leap, something only we have really done, doesn't mean the job is done. In the 2 or 3 million years we have been around, our crawl to technology has been abysmally slow till maybe the last 10 or 20,000 years. We got fire, very handy, but it took us a long time to apply that to making ceramics or metals. In all the time before then, we had used it to stay warm, to keep predators away, to fire or sharpen sticks, and to cook meat. So imagine a species that had sharp claws, thick fur, was an apex predator, and could digest raw meat better than we can. The fire doesn't help that much, and the stuff is terribly dangerous. They will probably never invent metals or ceramics because even if they do invent fire, it is a dangerous device of little value to them. We evolved during a series of ice ages when the planet was generally cooler than normal, and we ourselves came from a warm part of it and don't particularly have warm fur, even when we were hairier. Odds are pretty good that most species that get to the big brain zone don't really need that, and that is the main reason you hang around by a fire for protracted periods and might ponder it and its other uses. We think fire was invented possibly as far back as 2 million years ago, but 600,000 years is the loose consensus for definite regular use. Definitive use for cooking only goes back 200,000 years, but it's hard to say if that might not go back a lot further. Cooking food helped us digest it. We actually have an awful digestive tract for an omnivore, and we should assume that is abnormal. Digesting food you have already ingested and not maximizing what you can get out of it is a bit of a weird oversight. Possibly a very fortunate one for us though, since it not only meant we need fire to help with that, but it might have been a big factor in agriculture. More on that in a moment. But our crappy digestive system might have been very fortunate. So we already need a few unrelated mutations: longer lives, longer maturation, bigger brains, and a preference for tribes or clans, to be able to truly take advantage of high intelligence. And again, the big point of evidence for it otherwise being disadvantageous is how many other critters have had decently large brains as long or longer than us. More generations evolved to catch up in the brain race, and still have not done so. It's probably not that hard a mutation, just typically not handy. The octopus is an intelligent creature in that it is good at problem solving and can learn and apply that knowledge. Recent genetic evidence says their intelligence evolved around 400 million years ago. Why then are they not the dominant species, having had such a long evolutionary head start on us? Perhaps it comes down to them lacking those traits I mentioned. They are solitary, live in an ocean where fire is not an option, and have short lives. Now we have the issue that most of our early technology just isn't that handy, particularly if you don't have hands. A lion doesn't really need anything sharper than its claws for survival, but would still benefit from being able to hit a deer at range with a sharp stick, or get leverage by swinging an axe. But holding or swinging something is quite hard without the right anatomy, and actually aiming to hit something at range with a stone or spear is much harder. It took us a very long time to make and improve such things, and if they weren't as beneficial to us, even if they were somewhat beneficial, it probably would have taken longer and maybe never. Someone might invent a paperclip in the absence of paper, but it's not exactly a device that will awe the tribe and get passed on to future generations. Our tribes were not that big, they couldn't be, and couldn't afford specializations or knowledge retention that didn't help the tribe in an obvious way. We have found that a lot of critters do prefer cooked food over raw food. Apes will usually pick a baked potato over a raw one, for instance, when offered. So we don't want to assume you have to gain a huge benefit from cooked food to do it. And it also helps you store food. Still, storing food is a pretty abstract concept. Most critters do not do it. and the ones who do are not engaging in a learned behavior that involves conscious thought. So it's not like a squirrel is going to think about cooking food to store it like he does nuts. And for that matter, such critters usually store food that lasts longer without being cooked. The other thing about fire, of course, is that it keeps predators away. Not all predators and alien predators might be different. What's more, alien planets are often not going to be well set up for fire. I don't mean because they lack a decently dense oxygen atmosphere either. We covered that in the rare Earth hypothesis conditions last time. You need an environment where stuff can get dry, and a lot of plants might be way more humid or rain more often too, or have much faster plant decay. Decent odds are, one of our ancestors was sitting on a nice soft bed of dry grass to be comfortable while relentlessly banging some rocks together to sharpen them, and got fire that way. Odds are also good they didn't have an epiphany about its uses, and this had to happen a ton of times before anyone thought to use it. Anyway, if you can make fires reasonably easily, you can probably also use them to keep at least some predators at bay, which is handy if you have predators who eat you. It's awful though if you are a big apex predator with great nocturnal senses. Predators tend to fall into two camps: ambush predators and pursuit predators. A spider is an ambush predator. It waits till something falls into its web. Cougars are usually ambush predators too. Humans are pursuit predators. We chase our prey, and we are a subtype of it called a persistence hunter. Your cat is a pursuit predator too. It will stalk something, then leap out and chase it if it tries to flee. But not for long. Humans keep chasing. We literally used to chase our prey till it got exhausted, and then go kill it. That is how we could take out giant woolly mammoths. Something bigger than an elephant, which also travels in packs, is not terribly afraid of sharp sticks. We are also the only primate that does persistence hunting. We are very good at it. Humans are excellent at jogging for hours, and we can get rid of heat fast, part of why we can both support a giant brain, which gives off a ton of heat, and benefit from fire to stay warm. We would go startle a pack of animals and give chase. They'd usually outrun us. We'd catch up and scare them into running again. We can do this all day. We can make frightening noises, communicate over large distance by speech, set fire to things to scare our prey more, and just keep jogging after them till one breaks a leg or literally runs itself to death. And yes, lots of animals can do that. They just keep going until they stroke out. Humans don't. We pace ourselves and can literally jog all day if in good shape. Of course, dogs helped a lot too. Fire scares, but dogs warn. They were good at alerting us when some predator was nearby so it didn't come in and eat us. And they are pursuit predators too. They are good at finding small critters, an extra source of food, at tracking critters, at scaring them away in the night, and also handy for both harassing animals we are chasing and transporting the carcasses. Yes, we use dogs as one of our original beasts of burden. It's even hypothesized that since humans use eye contact followed by moving our gaze as one of our most basic silent communication tricks, and dogs are one of the few critters that understand that trick, that it could have helped us a lot with our hunting. Animal domestication is rightly considered one of our big steps to civilization, and that did start with dogs, presumably those brave enough to approach us, or let us approach, but not so aggressive as to attack. Keep in mind, that's fairly peculiar behavior too. A lot of animals don't even like to come near their own species, let alone another they are not planning to eat. Why did humans keep animals around and alive? How many other species who also shared our other characteristics would? Would we have gotten civilization without that? Now, of course, to get civilization, we needed agriculture, which means settling down in one place.
That's another good topic, like domestication of animals. Yeah, we got wild animals, but that's mostly in nowadays it's just in underdeveloped countries or pristine wildlands and sanctuaries that are prevented from being cultivated or excavated for construction purposes and things like that. So it's like, it's fucking weird. I always thought about that shit as a kid, like, there are no cows Like, there are no wild cows. There are no wild cows. There are no wild chickens. How come you got wild turkeys, but you don't got wild chickens? You know what I'm saying? Like, we domesticated the fuck out of certain animals to the point where you can't find these bitches wild anymore. It's weird as fuck, yo.
Cats were very handy then, since they eat the vermin that were attracted to our food stores and garbage. It's been suggested that a lot of the foods we ate, and to put it bluntly, did not entirely digest, grew in our waste, and we harvested these when we come back to a campsite the next year. It has also been suggested that thousands of years of gathering the things we got more food value out of selectively bred them to be easier to digest. A lot of those early cereal crops weren't very easy to eat nor terribly nutritious. Of course, we also have fire stick farming. We are a bit of a pyromaniac species, and we use that for hunting. But we probably also noticed that when we torched a forest, it tended to come back as savanna grass plains that a lot of grazing animals thrived better in. So some places we did forest gardening, and others we torched the place and grew us grass-eating herbivores. Presumably, at some point, we figured out that we could cut out the middleman and eat some of those cereal grasses ourselves. Many uncertainties remain, but needless to say, we eventually started hunting less in favor of keeping our meat animals around and growing crops for them and us to eat. This allowed permanent settlements and more people, both of which are handy since the latter allows more specialization, and the former means you don't have to limit all of your possessions to that which you can carry. I said earlier it took us a long time to go from fire to ceramics and metalworking, but it is worth remembering that it is kind of hard to drag an anvil or kiln with you every day, and the work you can do without those is fairly limited and inferior. So you get cities and specialists, and eventually writing, so that you can pass knowledge on to people who aren't physically present at the time, and don't have to remember things our brains aren't well designed for, like exact numbers of how many cows Bob brought into town last year, and if he paid his taxes on them. Which is probably what most early writing was interested in, not technology, personal journals, or literature. At this stage, we think of technology as fairly inevitable. People clearly can pass technology over great distances in both space and time, and also clearly know its value. Twin to that, most talks of Dark Ages and lost technology are 90% malarkey. The European Dark Age is mostly a romantic myth made up during later periods, and what little truth to it there is still ignores that chunk of the planet is not the entire planet, or even a particularly large chunk of it. It has happened, of course. There was some lost in the Dark Age, and we've got examples like the Indus Valley Civilization that clearly got quite advanced, then just fell to pieces. Yet by and large, useful technology does not get lost. It gets lost because it isn't useful to people who have it at the moment. Aqueducts did not get casually forgotten. They just aren't that useful in a lot of places and circumstances. Ditto, giant buildings composed of arches are a bit of a niche application. So we do not want to assume civilizations can't lose technology, and that once you have it you become totally invested in improving it. Only maybe the last 10 to 20 billion humans alive, out of maybe 100 billion who ever lived, have been of the technology addiction mindset, and even that is probably being generous. They knew technology was handy for all of human history at least, that being defined as the times and places we kept written records, which did not include most of the planet until relatively recently, even compared to the 4,000 or 5,000 years we've had it at all. Many of them just didn't think on it much. They had what they had and no one was going around inventing new things constantly. But some outright rejected it. After Rome burned down, or one of the times anyway, the one Nero may or may not have caused, an engineer approached Emperor Vespasian with some devices that would make transporting construction materials cheaper. Vespasian, who mind you was generally considered one of the saner emperors, rejected it, saying he needed to feed his commoners. They needed work to eat. Now this is coming from a Roman emperor. guys not generally noted for being concerned about the common people, and also coming from one of the more engineering-oriented civilizations. In that light, we probably shouldn't assume advanced technology was inevitable for humans, or that every civilization with the talent for it will pursue it to modern levels either. Similarly, the Fermi paradox is not actually about detecting modern civilizations, but ones that have gotten advanced further than us. We would have problems detecting ourselves more than maybe 100 light years away, and could miss ourselves even closer. So we have to advance further ourselves, and of course we might abandon that path or destroy ourselves first. If most alien civilizations destroy themselves at our level of development, or shrug and say they have enough technology, or if they actually hit a brick wall on development, then there's no Fermi paradox. We would simply not see those civilizations when we peer through our telescopes at them unless they were right next door. Now, I've discussed before all the doomsday options in one of the first episodes on the channel, Apocalypse How, and we may revisit them in more detail in the future, but we usually bypass any consideration that we should stop progressing technologically if we were alive. None of us believe science is done yet, but there is a bit of an article of faith implied there. If I said we know all we could learn of science in another generation or two, everyone would laugh, and I'd join them. But we want to avoid assuming there is always another mystery, and that every answer brings two more questions. Thinking that itself is a terribly unscientific viewpoint. We can hypothesize a time when we have learned everything, or hit a brick wall on further development, and that could be inside the next couple centuries. However, that does not matter to the Fermi paradox unless that knowledge includes learning some things we think are in reach really are not. No fusion power, no self-replicating machines or nanotechnology, no extending people's lives or freezing them and waking them up. Fundamentally, if you've got those, even just some of those, you can do interstellar travel and shoot for Kardashev 2 civilization status, and that does make the Fermi paradox real. If not, if technology does hit a brick wall, there is no paradox. And I can say it, but I don't believe it. So the paradox is real for me. Now the last option there is that just about everyone gives up on advancing technology. That's hard for me to accept too, and I think for most of my audience as well. For me, for us, the notion of turning away from the technological path is something so hideous that I can only regard it as essentially heresy, unthinkable, morally bankrupt, cowardly, even evil. It would be the most absolute rejection of so many of the ideals we hold as underlying everything our modern civilization stands for. And yet when I think of folks worried about automation taking jobs, a concern I myself share, I do think of Emperor Vespasian rejecting a cheaper means of mechanical transport to feed his people instead. The obsolescence of occupations, such as took place during the Industrial Revolution, and is happening now with self-driving vehicles and general automation, can also lead to the disenfranchisement of people, which has and probably will lead to pitchfork riots. If people associate technology with a negative, they can intentionally turn from it. There is also that other nagging background concern when we talk about automation too, that we might get automation so good it thinks for itself and is smarter than us, and either eliminates and replaces us, or even if benevolent, just reduces us to overfed, happy, useless pets. We'll talk about artificial intelligence and such concerns more next month, but I could see a lot of civilizations looking at their level of technology, whose fundamental purpose is to make their lives better, safer, and more convenient, and just saying, enough is enough. Anything more sticks us too close to a precipice, someone might push us over. I'd rather be inconvenienced than irrelevant or redundant. I don't see that happening often, and have difficulty imagining it happens every time, and that every civilization abandons technological advancement, and does so before getting off their own home planet. But I think that argument probably does happen every time, and pretty much has to happen at about this technological level. We shouldn't rule that out. As it approaches, folks, even those who are otherwise very pro-technology, grow cooler and more hostile to further advancements, and decide to stop short of artificial intelligence and any technologies that would make it too easy for someone to make one, or make a tailored virus, or a swarm of grey goo nanorobots or homemade nukes. I cannot see wiping oneself out as a great filter, with the sole exception of some sort of suicide pact technology that looks amazing, is easy to develop once noticed, and invariably kills everyone. I also can't see artificial intelligence as any sort of filter, since it simply replaces a species, same as we replaced Neanderthal. But while I don't find it likely, I could see intentionally shutting down further tech advancement as a possible last great filter. Again, I don't think so though. No, for my part, to summarize both this episode and the two before it, I tend to think we have an awful lot of hurdles and filters to getting where we are now, and that almost nobody ever has, and probably no one in this galaxy or its nearest neighbors, maybe even the whole supercluster. I think the filters are done, and probably have been since we first started settling down in those first towns that became cities. I don't think it was any one thing, but I tend to suspect the two big ones are the conditions for a planet to be plausibly able to support civilizations arising, and that final jump from small ape to proto-human, and having it happen to a species that was improbably biologically configured to benefit most from basic technology where many others would not. Those are the only two genuinely unique things we have, unless abiogenesis really does turn out to be a super improbable fluke. A planet with the right size and conditions and location in time and space to nurture massive biodiversity over very long times, and critters capable of genuine abstract thought in bodies and social structure very suited to benefit from it. We simply do not know enough to say, and perhaps that's part of the appeal to the Great Filter and Rare Earth approach for me. It is the camp I subscribe to, but while there are a lot of uncertainties and shaky reasoning, it does not seem fatally flawed in any way, whereas pretty much every other solution I've ever heard of tends to seem that way. We cover the rest of those in the Fermi Paradox Compendium, and we'll look at more of them in more detail down the road, and we will try to give them a fair shake. But to me, the Great Filters seem the best candidate, and if it does not to you, then I hope by now you can at least see why it appeals to a lot of us when contemplating this topic. Next week, we will be taking a look at interplanetary civilizations with a follow-up on the space warfare episode, Interplanetary Warfare. For alerts when that and other episodes come out, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button, share with others, and try out some of the other Fermi Paradox or Alien Civilization series episodes. And don't forget to check out Peter Watt's Blindside, our Audible Book of the Month.
What's that?
Until next time, thanks for watching, and have a great week.
Yep. I'll try to get it all in one meal. Protein and starch. Protein and starch. Protein and starch. Damn, Trap, you got kind of big. Bruh, you don't even know how much I eat. You know how hard it is to eat all this food? And still drink a protein shake every morning. Instead of having breakfast, I just have a protein shake. Get that big boost of protein early in the day. And then have a nice lunch like this. And then you gotta eat 3 more times like this a day. Drinking in the pit is the pit. What that mean? And I'm about to stop taking those protein shakes. I'm already past my I'm already past my weight goal. So, but I already opened a jar of protein mix. So I'm gonna just use it up. But after I use that one, I'm gonna stop buying that shit. For one, I'm not trying to get too big. For two, I wanted to make sure I can just maintain and regulate my weight with my diet. And for three, that shit's fucking expensive. I'm not even lying. Especially like I said, I drink that shit every morning for breakfast. I've been doing that shit for like 5 months, maybe 5-6 months almost. Yeah. I buy one of them shits every fucking week. Large lunches, small dinners. I kind of so this is my first solid meal of the day. Like I did a shake. I just had a snack earlier. I just ate an apple, but my shake, I put extra shit in my shake, yo. I put a whole banana and like 3 tablespoons of peanut butter. And then I use almond milk, and then add the powder to it and blend all that shit together. So even with my shake, I already had a banana and a couple ounces of peanut butter. Then I ate an apple. And I'm gonna eat this whole plate. Then I'll probably eat another plate like this in a few hours. And then the rest of the evening, I just had like small little shits all the way until like midnight. I just eat like small shit. Probably just have another potato by itself, or make like a turkey sandwich. Got some beef jerky. Eat some beef jerky or some shit. Just any kind of healthy snacks. Just try to keep protein. I've been eating all fucking day now. Yeah, good fats and fiber. Some kale. I need to get some other shit. Like I said, once I stop taking that protein shake, I do want to add like, there's a couple different foods that I haven't tried that are really high in protein. I looked up vegan bodybuilders. I'm not gonna go vegan. I tried that shit. It fucking works too, man. I actually lost weight. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I went to my doctor. He's like, you're just healthy as fuck. I'm like, this is too healthy. I don't need to be this small. Like, what the fuck? And I started eating meat for like 5 or 6 months. That vegan shit ain't for me. I try not to eat as much red meat. I'm not a lot of processed foods. Oh yeah, thank you. I know. Shit. Goddamn 37 years old. I'm looking at 10 years, 20 years from now. When I'm 47, when I'm 57, I don't want to have no hunchback, bad knees, you know what I'm saying? A pot belly, diabetes, a pacemaker. Fuck all that shit, man. I stopped smoking cigarettes like almost 2 years ago. For the last time. You know what I'm saying? I've done it a couple times. I went without cigarettes one time for like a year. Another time I did it for a little bit longer than a year. Started back. This time, I said I'm almost 2 years into this shit. Leave them goddamn cigarettes alone, bro. That shit'll fuck you up. And that's it. It's just like most of the time you don't even have to change how much you eat. You just have to change what you eat. That's it. It's what you eat. You can eat all the goddamn food you want. You can pig out and get get full till you can't eat no more. But what are you eating though? I say, and some healthy like fish, chicken, turkey. Eat all that shit all day, man. Have you some chicken sandwiches. You know what I'm saying? Have you some fried fish and grits. You eat all that shit all day. You can stuff yourself full of broccoli and potatoes, and your weight will still maintain the same. When you start adding that too much of that red meat and that swine, and a lot of extra sugars like processed sugars in your fucking diet, and beer, all that drinking and shit, all that alcohol, man, all you gotta do is just take a little bit of shit out your diet, yo. Try to stop consuming, like you say, so much red meat, that pork. Stop consuming so much sugar and alcohol. Shit, motherfucker slim right the fuck down. Like I said, when I took meat out my diet completely for like 5-6 months with no meat, rarely eating meat. Bro, that shit was amazing. Even my shit was smelling like a goddamn salad bar. Yeah, my shit don't even... Shit smell like some mushrooms. What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck? Man, I felt good though. I still feel good now, but... You know what I'm saying? You really, really, really have to know the right, proper foods. Because I was eating a lot of what I would consider healthy shit, and I even have a vegan cookbook and tried a lot of recipes out of there. But that's just most of that shit is for average people who just want to be healthy. But I was already looking into fucking starting to lift weights and shit, and I really didn't know how to fucking grow on a plant-based diet. But there's a lot of, I went back to YouTube University and listened to a lot of guys, and there's a couple vegan bodybuilders, and they got a lot of points on that shit. But I do like eating meat though. I like chicken and steaks, not just any kind of meat. I gotta be specific nowadays. I gotta be PC, man. I gotta be PC around this shit. Somebody else have my ass on their YouTube site on the internet. Look at this crazy motherfucker. Trap out, talking about eat meat. That's why I remember that one episode, y'all. I swear to God, I was watching Lara Croft, and somebody said, "Why do you always wear that fucking mask?" He was like, "Cause I do a lot of stupid shit, and a motherfucker like you will have my face all over the internet and show the world me doing stupid shit. That's why I have my fucking mask on." I said, "Damn. Why you wear that mask all the time?" "Because I do a lot of stupid shit." Yo, Laura Croft, I'll never forget that shit, yo. That shit was too funny. And when y'all motherfuckers don't have my face all on the internet, you know what I'm saying? Fuck that shit. I keep my mask on. You know, and I mean, there's tons of fucking plants that have high protein in that shit, yo. Especially like when you get to your bean varieties and lentil varieties and stuff. And there's even some leafy greens like turnip greens or some shit like that, got a lot of protein in it. There's see, I ain't want to call that shit out. I ain't want to start naming off specific shit, but trust me, there's a lot of shit that has protein. And one of the main arguments what I heard was, think about this. All the meat that you eat, don't eat meat. All of the meat that you eat, don't eat meat. Cows don't eat meat. Chickens don't eat meat. Turkeys don't eat meat. Some fish, yeah, fish eat meat, I guess. But even like gorillas and rhinoceroses and moose and shit like that, big ass fucking mammals, big strong ass mammals, elephants, big ass fucking strong ass animal, that motherfucker don't eat no meat. So where they get all their protein from? How a fucking elephant grows so strong and so massive with such powerful muscles and be a fucking herbivore? Because all their protein come from the plants they eat. And once again, even if you eat beef, cows don't eat meat. So where the fuck they get their protein from? All the plant matter that they eat. So just take the meat out of the equation and just go straight to the plant source and get all your protein from plants, just like every other animal that we eat do. I mean, not less convenient. It's just more expensive. I'll tell you that. Because that's the thing. Like, a motherfucker don't want to eat stir fry and salads every day. So now you have all these meat substitute sausage and kielbasa and burgers and meatballs and cheese and all these other products that taste like regular food, but it's all plant-based. So it's weird being vegan. Like, you gotta shop different places, buy different brands of food and shit. And then your grocery bill goes up like $150. Or maybe tofu. Tofu doesn't have a lot of protein in it, but it's what people love about tofu is it absorbs flavor so much. So you can make tofu taste like almost anything. That's what I'm saying, man. Once again, like, if you go to a regular grocery store, just your neighborhood grocery store, wherever you shop at, go look for the health food section. Does your grocery store have a health food section? And while you standing in the health food section, look at the rest of the grocery store. Now, what is all the rest of that shit? If this is healthy food and the health food section of the grocery store is really small, what the fuck else is in the store? Junk. That's what I'm saying though. You can be fucking strong and beefy with no fucking beef. Without no beef. You know. But once again, I like the way my food tastes. Being vegan is cool. Being vegetarian is cool. I like eating chicken. I like crawfish. I like frog legs. I still like burgers and steaks, man. Some good Canadian kielbasa, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Baked, fried, stewed, grilled, sauteed. So tender, the white meat. It'd be lonely over there. I only know the junk hours. I'll never know there's no health food section. My grocery store got a health food section? Where that shit at? Oh, that's where they sell the pomegranates and dates and shit. Damn. That's where they got everything on the package says non-GMO and gluten-free, no gelatin or artificial colors. That shit ain't fun. No added sugars. Everything just says no salt. You know what I'm saying? Diet. That's the whole point too. Like, I don't know. It's always hard for me to eat. I've always been like that. Like, I've always been slim. I never had like really big appetites to fucking stuff myself. But now I just take longer to eat. I can fucking get it all down. It just takes me a while. Gotta get that dedication to sit here and just eat this shit till it's all gone. I'm fucking packed right now, son. Packed full of food. All right. Very good. Some vitamin E. My heart, my stomach. But I want to live, bitch. But chocolate ice cream tastes so fucking good, man. Just give me that shit. No. It's a dairy product. Fuck that. Man, we'll take some of my last. We'll be alright. I'll tell you what to do. Pop some Tums first. I'll be good. I'll be good. I promise. But we had the burger yesterday. Motherfucker, that was yesterday. You want this ice cream or not? I do want the ice cream. Woo! See, when I got my food, my stomach was telling me to get a soda, but I was like, nah, gotta drink some water. You need that water, man. Alright, so that's like my third bottle of water today. Drink 2 more of these, I'll be good. Then I might have me some Henny tonight. Oh shit! I was gonna drink some Henny last night, but I'm an old fucker and I fell asleep. I woke up on the couch like, oh, it's midnight. It's too late to drink now. I swear to God. I even told my girl, I was playing the game and shit. She was like, you ain't doing nothing tonight? I was like, shit, I might drink. So you and the guys going up? I said, nah. I'm drinking the Henny I got right there. Never even took that shit out the motherfucking cabinet, bro. I ain't even first opened the cabinet. I played that game for a minute. I sat on the couch. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. If I was on the phone or watching some TV. I woke up. It was midnight. Let me get my ass in bed. If I started drinking at midnight, I ain't waking up in the morning to go to no damn gym. Can you work willpower like a muscle? In a way, I guess you can. Gotta have some strong ass fucking willpower though. That commercial has some pretty cool music.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael.
I'm pausing you, Michael. You just, hey. Oh, it's almost 1 o'clock. I've been in here for almost 3 hours. I hate people who do that. Me too. You don't mind and it don't matter. It's mind over matter. You don't mind and it don't matter. It's mind over matter. You don't mind and it don't matter. Just gather your energy, then just proceed to just over matter. Mind over matter. Mind over matter is mind over matter. If you don't mind it, it don't matter. If you don't mind it, it don't matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. It's mind over matter. Mind over matter. If you don't mind it, it don't matter. If you don't mind it, it don't matter. It's mind over matter. Mind over matter. Just gather your energy, then proceed. Then proceed. Ooh. Mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. Just gather your energy, then proceed. stop me. Nah, nothing's gonna stop me. Bum, bum, bum. Ooh, ooh. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Oh my God, how do you do that? Well, I dip my brush in paint and then I put the paint on the canvas. Wow, that's amazing. He said he dips his brush in paint and then put the paint on the canvas. It sounds so simple. Oh my God, yo, Borat, not Borat. Why did I call him Borat? Sacha Baron Cohen. This motherfucker has a new show. Holy shit, dude. Holy shit. He pulled this shit off at this fucking, literally, he pulled this shit off at this art gallery where he was a artist, an up-and-coming artist. He just got out of prison. He said he did 22 years in jail. But while he was in jail, he started making portraits with his shit because he didn't have anything else to paint with. And yo, the gallery's art director, she was like so into this shit, like really into it. I'm like, what the fuck? And then he said he pulled out this paintbrush, and the bristles was made from pubic hair of different people he met or people he idolized. And who is American? Yo, I swear to God. Yo, and then he asked the lady for some pubes, yo, and she gave them shits up. Like, what the fuck, yo? People are so fucking weird, yo. Like, holy shit. Yo, that art director lady was fucking throw, because she was like so into shit art. Like shit. And he said, oh, I think I feel inspiration. I gotta go to the bathroom. And so apparently he just goes right in the bathroom, takes a deuce and paints with it and comes out, and she takes it and holds it in her hand like, oh wow, it looks just like me. This is dead on. And it's like, what the fuck, yo? Why can't I run into a gallery director as enthusiastic as that about my shit, yo? Like, literally. Like, give me some of your pubic hairs to put on my brush. And she was like, okay, no problem. Oh, you know what? Here's some better ones right here. Like, and then the first time she went in the bathroom and did. The second time she was just like, right there in the open, she just turned her back to the camera. It's like, I got a couple more. You gotta love artsy people, yo. Wow, you gotta love her for that shit. That bitch just stole the fuck off, yo. That bitch stole off. Whoa. Yo, I'm telling you. You gotta do number one or number two? I gotta go to number two. This nigga say you gotta take a deuce. Oh. I think I feel inspiration coming. I'll be right back. He just took a magazine in there and then put shit on a page in the magazine and said, "Oh, this is art." But meanwhile, on my side, I use the most expensive paints, paint the most beautifulest images, and I asked the motherfucker for a couple grand for this shit. They look at me sideways. God damn, this man just shit in the magazine. This lady said that shit was art and gave him some pubic hairs. Wow, I'm doing something wrong, man. I'm doing it wrong. I gotta figure this shit out. Yo. I was in jail for doing something, one thing wrong. I just did it 17 times. Only did one thing wrong 17 times. And you just got out? Oh, yes, I just got out of jail. I'm an artist now. I use my shit to paint. Oh, this is amazing. This is really reflective. I'm digging this. And it's like, what? Are you fucking insane? Really, bitch? That's all I had to do was shit in a fucking magazine? Oh my god. Bam bam barum bum bum barum bararum bam 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 barum 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 bam 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 bam. Oh, you know how it is. Well, can you give it to me for this price? No, bitch. I just told you how much I want for it. Stop trying to play me. Well, I can get it somewhere. Well, buy then. Buy. You want to go get it somewhere else? Buy. You ain't got to buy my shit, bitch. I don't give a damn. Don't buy my shit. So what? Go buy some crappy ass shit from somebody else who don't know what the fuck they doing. Oh, I gotta. Wait a minute. Purchase your tracks today. Purchase. Yeah. Purchase. Bum 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 ba-da-dum, purchase your trash, your shade. Purchase your trash today.
2018 Ford F-150
Nah,
just raised
no.
the bar.
Let's-
It is the bar.
Let's not do the commercial thingies, people. Oh, you got me. Roll, 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 bow. La da 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 da. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yo, that's what's up, yo. Whoa, yo, 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 hey. No, 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 no. Whoa, but oh, whoa, 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 but oh. Ba-da, no, no, whoa, no. Whoa, no, whoa, do, be, do, whoa, be, do, bo. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Mr. Frodo, roll, 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 boulder, roller, boulder, boulder, roll, na na na, Frodo, Mr. Frodo, do, oh, be do, na na na. If you press that button, you're going to be in very big. Yo, that dude. Yeah. Art and education. Yeah, it's that art and education. Ooh, that art and education. Man, I put it right in your face. And man, I grabbed a brush and started painting. Wow, wow, that shit looks so amazing. All these perfect pictures, man, look at them. They call portraits. Where that shit come from? It came from TRAP, that's his name. And he trap insane, so he know to the game. And he from that South Carolina, yeah, that's that place. It's so fucking hot, man. He smashed it in your face. But now, check out this style. He took Trap House Entertainment and he turned that around. Now it's art and education, not a frown. Ooh, ooh, every day is such a smile. Ooh, ooh, and we're learning new things, and cover some new ground. Man, I turned my lifestyle around. No more hanging on the corner. Now I'm in the studio. Now I'm in the studio getting on one. Yeah. Yeah. That art and education. Yeah, the art and education. Yeah, the art and education. Put it right in your face. Look at what you facing. Yeah, that art and education. Yeah, that art and education. Put it in your face now. Look at what you facing. Oh, cause that dude Devon. Yeah, you know he be on. That dude Devon. Yeah, you know he be on with that art and education. Art and education. Now look at what you facing. Art and education. Art and education. I put it in your face now. Look at what you facing. Skin looking real. Skin looking real. Skin looking real. That skin looking real. Cause he got skills. Skin looking real. Cause the kid got skills. Art and education. Put it in your face now. Look at what you facing. Bad Boy Slim. Boom, boom. Bad Boy Slim. I get free art, free freestyles, free education. Oh man, this is the place to be in the morning. Somebody should put this shit on the radio. This your boy Travis Prince on Hot 97 in the morning. Everybody welcome to Art and Education, bitches. No commercials. No You know we don't do the commercials. Yeah. It said it's almost. Oh. Ooh, is that bass not ripping it right now? God damn. Boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Everybody looking for a lucky break, not realizing you only get the luck that you make. That bar just came to my head for some reason. Everybody looking for a lucky break, not realizing you only get the luck that you make. So this is how you can see so this is the underpainting. This is just the foundation layer of paint, the very first layer of paint that went on the canvas. So it's dark, it's blocky and blotchy. There's barely any details in it at all. You just really want to just block out your image using the darkest of your tones that you can find. And it's better with oil paints to start really dark and then add your light colors on top of this. So the image is really, the first layer of paint is really dark, and you can just see I came around the eyes a little bit, add a little highlights, and now I'm applying some highlights to the skin tone. But this is so you can see the extreme difference in the first layer of paint and the second layer of paint. And I normally put about 3 layers, anywhere from 3 to 4 layers, sometimes 5 or 6, depending on how detailed the image is. But I'll give it at least a minimum of 3 layers of paint. So this entire paint process that you see here, this on the canvas now, all of this paint, all of this, you'll never see this. I'll paint over this one time completely paint over this. I'll let it dry and completely paint over it again. So even the paint I'm applying now, essentially, you won't even see this layer of paint. I mean, you see the subsequent layers through each layer. So even when it's done, you'll still have that effect of this dark underlayer that gives rise to the depth and dimensions of the piece itself. So essentially, this is very important. It does add to the piece. It is a major part of the process. But all in all, you won't see these layers of paint. So even this second layer here, it looks really good compared to the first layer. But even this portion, I'll paint over this once again. And some people will see me doing this and like, oh, you're almost done. And it's like, no, dude, I'm so far from being done. Like, so far. Like, it looks great, man. It looks awesome. Yeah, I know, but I got to do it like 1 or 2 more times. Like, really? Why? Because it looks like that when it's done. If you do it right, it'll look just like that every time. So just take your time. Be patient. It'll be alright. Killer. Everything be alright. Just be patient. Do your thing. Keep brushing. I've been stroking. That's what I've been doing. Ooh, I've been stroking. Alright, was that too geeky? My bad, guys. Gotta keep it gangster in this bitch. I keep forgetting. Damn you, brush. Brush is kind of fucked up. Might have to clean that one. Cody. I have Cody on my fire stick. Cody. 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 If the bass scares you, just let me know. And I'll be glad to tell you, shut the fuck up. My son says he's scared of the bass. Sir, your son's a little bitch. Go buy him a dress. When. Can you please turn down the bass? Cody, Cody, Cody. No.
The ingredients don't come with instructions. You gotta put that shit together.
Okay, Uncle Snoop.
Email me
don't think I do remember that song. I wasn't really wasn't a big Nate Dogg fan, man. I'm from the East Coast, man. Like Pac was probably my biggest West Coast influence as a kid. I mean Nate Dogg, he was the man though. You know what I'm saying? If I hear it, I probably recognize it, but right off the back, a Nate Dogg song called Brown Skin, I don't remember that. Nate Dogg was the man for the hooks back in the day, yo. You want your shit to be hot, yo, get Nate Dogg to sing your hook, yo. Regulators, mount up. I'm getting blinded, this ain't exactly what you thought it was, my nigga, you ain't wanna end the discussion, let's get out. Yeah, discussion, let's skip the talking, my dogs get the barking, my birds get the hawking, you rats get the squawking, I mean squeaking. Cause you bleeding and you leaking, and I know that you been eating on that cheesin'. Oh man, 3.5 hours. I might have to take a break.
Get a taste of the Midwest with Lay's Taste of America.
No commercials.
Learn more at Lay's.com.
No, fuck you and your tater chips. Fuck you and your tater chips, Lay's. Don't come in my station throwing in your advertisements and shit, bitch. That's how YouTube banned me the last time. Fuck, I gotta pay for YouTube Red so I don't get banned. Oh, now YouTube on the lag. Oh my fucking gracious. Y'all must be heard I'm about to get off. Y'all just like, oh, he about to get off. Fuck everything, yo. Turn it down. Everybody shut it down. Cut the video. Cut. I said cut, motherfucker. He's out of here. I ain't even first stand up yet. Chris, we're having a problem with sound. Somebody get in there and get a sound check going. Hello, testing. What happened to the video? Sir, we're buffering right now. Yo, what the fuck? Seriously though? For real. You. What up, bro? What you doing? That's a gym. Right now. Huh? I feel you. I feel you. Shit. I had got something from somebody else. What you doing at the gym? I know that's right. Hey, shit, hit me up when you doing with that. I'm in here. I'm on a live stream painting right now. All right. This is my own personal beat list. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can just go to my my playlist and just hit the one that says beats. And this is a hand-selected list of beats I put together myself. All these shits are nice as hell just to listen to or freestyle to. Cause back in the day, I used to rap. That's how I got my nickname Trap. Yeah. Back in here later on. I'm just gonna take a break and go play some video games for a little while, probably. Yo, that's what's up, man. Hey, hope you have a good one. Go tell your doctor I said, what's good, doc? Yeah, I need to. Till next time, bro. I need to stand up, man. Goddamn. Oh, I gotta go drop that art off too. What the fuck time is it? It's almost 2 o'clock. It's almost 2 o'clock. Mike. What's good? I'm about to go drop these paintings off at the art gallery real quick, guys. For this Scranton Art Festival. So I can have some African American representation of the arts. Cause Lord knows, goddamn, if it wasn't for me, bruh, this city wouldn't see no black art. Not just that gallery, the whole fucking city, man. This shit ain't, it's just not here, man. I gotta represent, bro. You know, you don't. I'm trying to tell you, bro. You don't know how hard I gotta represent. The main gallery I'm a member of, there's like 30-something members to that shit, yo. Like 37 members. I'm the only black dude in there. And there's one other black person, and she's a girl. And she dates a white dude. You know what I'm saying? And she doesn't even paint. She does like pottery and ceramics and shit. So as far as black men go, I'm the only one in the whole motherfucking city trying to hold it down for the, you know, for the boys. This how I get ready for an art event. So if you ever go to one of my art shows, you just already know. If I smell funny and it don't smell like cologne, don't say anything. Damn, Travis. Smell mighty peculiar there. It's just some new oils I got. It smells like marijuana. No, it don't. It does. No, it don't. Yeah, gotta represent. You know what I'm saying? Only one out here doing this shit, bro. Only one in the city. Which is kind of a good thing, kind of bad thing. Because I feel like if I was in Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? They like 20 of me in Atlanta right now. Probably about 200 of me in Atlanta right now. What if there's 2,000 motherfuckers just like me in Atlanta? Everybody trying to do the same shit. But here I do, my shit stand out. There is no way not to notice my shit. You can't like not recognize it. When you go to the art galleries, you're like, oh, there's Travis Peace right there. How can you tell? It's black people. Like, it's just that simple. It's that fucking simple. You come to the gallery, if it's a painting of a black person, it's more than likely it's mine. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be alright. Like I said, I'm about to go drop this these couple pieces off. I had a weird text message. Where I would show you guys the pieces that I want to take. They're already downstairs. I'm gonna drop 4 paintings off. I'll show them to you guys before I leave. It's a bunch of older stuff. It's a bunch of older paintings, but still good stuff. Some stuff I don't really put on display anymore, really.
They'll shoot you down without warning. I'm a lion king, oh, we my way. I got one eye open while I pray. If they come for me, it's boom, I hey, hey, hey. She gon' talk that shit like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Walk up in that bitch like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Niggas gon' get lit like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But the cheat don't run. I'll be here when you come out. They'll shoot you down without warning when they see you shining bright. In case we don't meet the morning, the crown's on my head tonight. Let them come for me if they want to. Let my children know what that's about. Let them come for me if they want to. They gon' make them helicopters come out. They gon' make them helicopters come out. And I tell them boys don't run away. When the ghetto bird come round my way. I done seen them kill them in broad day. If I die today's my holiday. Chick gon' talk that shit like yeah, yeah, yeah. Walking up in that bitch like yeah, yeah, yeah. Niggas gon' get lit like yeah, 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 yeah. But the cheat don't run. I'll be here when you come out. They'll shoot you down without warning when they see you shining bright. In case we don't meet the morning, the crown's on my head tonight. Let them come for me if they want to. Let my children know what that's about. Let them come for me if they want to. We gon' make them helicopters come out. We gon' make them helicopters come out. I feel it in the air. Do or die, nigga, do it there. Got a nigga in a trap, catch a nigga in a snare. Been there, been where most niggas wouldn't dare. Yeah, niggas wouldn't dare. Young nigga, beware. See the light in you, my nigga. Yeah, I see the glare. My nigga, beware.
You a rocket, I can see your motherfucking flare. Yeah, nigga, beware.
Young nigga, beware. Young nigga, beware. Young nigga, beware. Young nigga, beware.
Y'all can kind of tell my art, like, the phases I went through. Well, I don't have none of my older art up here. Like, for a minute, when I first started, I just used that symbol right there for a while. I didn't even sign my name or anything. I just used that symbol. And then, that one paint just had it. Oh, this one. And then I started writing my name in print like that, just T Prince, and then still have the symbol. So that's kind of how you can date my stuff. My earlier stuff doesn't have any letters, just the symbol. Like my second phase, I wrote my signature like this in print, T prints. And my third phase, I wrote my name in script and still kept the symbol. And so it looked like this, Travis Prince, with the same symbol. So that was my third phase. My third phase was pretty big. You can see the same signature there, the same signature on those canvases, the same signature here. And now my artwork is recognizable enough where I don't sign anything. I don't put anything on it. Nothing. There's nothing there. Oh, that one has a signature, but see, no signature, no markings, no nothing. I'm gonna sign the back of them from now on, instead of signing anything on the front. I'll sign the backs of them. And I guess that's my fourth phase. Will I go back to signing something on the front of the canvas? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. But I think my art is recognizable enough where when people see it, they kind of recognize it as mine now. People who really follow me, they don't have to see my name. They can just look at it and be like, oh, that's Travis just posted a new painting. And there's a handful of artists I can do the same thing as, like, yeah, you can Google it. Google Travis Prince artist. You're gonna get me in the artist known as Prince, but like all my shit pops up. It's weird, yo. My Facebook, my YouTube channel, like I'm Googleable. Like that's weird. It's the first time I Googled myself, I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck? How did you do this, Google? And then you start scrolling down. You Google Travis Prince artist, and then go to images and scroll down, and there's like pictures of my paintings and shit up there. It's like, who does that? How are you doing this, Google? The fucking AI is taking over. Yeah, tell that to my family. The fucking black sheep, son. Motherfuckers like, Travis, that motherfucking lazy ass bum. Does he still have a job? Are you still working? Yes, I'm still working. How long have you been there? 6 months? I've been here for 5 fucking years. You've had the same job for 5 years? Yes. Huh. everywhere is the same shit. It takes a long time to get that knitted look to it. It's like, what the fuck, yo? Yeah, so these are 4 older paintings. Like I say, all of these have signatures on it. That's how you can tell how they're kind of old. Like I've finished several paintings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I probably got like, I don't know, like almost a year's worth of work that's unsigned. So from right now, anything you see with a signature on it is probably more than a year old. Like I said, they haven't been out the house in a while. And the gallery actually asked me for pieces. Like I didn't even submit or anything. It was like, hey Travis, we have something coming up. Do you think you can submit 3 to 5 pieces? I'm like, I guess. Okay. Alright, if you want me to bring some art, thanks for asking. Okay? You know? That's when you know you're getting good. Like when you don't have to go out submitting, filling out forms and begging, like, please hang my paintings. And people like, yo, can you bring us some shit? And I'm like, hell yeah, I can bring you some shit. I can pull some shit out for you. You ain't getting none of my new stuff. I told her that too. I was like, yo, it's gonna be some shit that people already seen. It hasn't been in like this type of setting before, but I think most of these have been in the galleries in the past couple of years. When that was my new stuff, I'm still proud of all of my artwork, but you know, like the new shit, you're like, yes. And all of those, I've had that same emotional reaction for all of those pieces, and I still like them. But I want some new. Ain't no pussy like new pussy. I want some new shit, son. Some new naked shit. Paintings everywhere. That's 3 complete paintings sitting right there. Oh, did you hear that? I think I scratched my shit, son. Oh, fuck, I think I see it too. God damn. I'm gonna have to touch that up. Oh, yeah, here's a whole nother set of paintings. There's one more behind that one. I'm not gonna move that right now. I said, let me hurry up and get my ass downtown. Damn, I think I really did scratch that shit. Fuck. I gotta pull out some green paint for that shit. Oh, this is I'm definitely on the fast track to making this my career, bro. You know what I'm saying? If I can make a livelihood out of this, of course. This is just like, if you tell a little kid, go to the playground and play, and every hour that you're out there playing, I'll give you $20. A little kid go out there and play all day like, yay! That's what this is to me. Is like, if I can really make this into a living, and motherfucker, I can get paid enough to sustain myself and my family, damn right. But if not, that shit don't really matter to me. The money don't matter. You know what I'm saying? If I can feed myself off of this shit, that'd be awesome. But it don't. I'm never gonna stop painting, no matter what. Shit, if I gotta always keep a job and work for somebody else, shit, I'm still gonna fucking paint. If nobody invites me to be in exhibitions or galleries or anything like that, I'm still gonna fucking paint. If nobody watches my stream or anything, I'm still gonna paint. You know what I'm saying? So all that other shit don't even really matter. You ain't got to buy it, you ain't got to like it, you ain't got to love it, you ain't even got to watch it if you don't want to. And you know what? I can turn this camera off right now and I'll still be in this motherfucker painting. I'll be in here doing the exact same fucking thing. Yeah, that's most of the time that's how it is. It's just networking, meeting the right people. It's not what you know or what you're capable of or what you're able to do. Is who you know. You know what I'm saying? Who do you know? Oh, see, that's what's up. And word of mouth is always the best advertisement. That shit works better than anything, and it's free. It's free to tell somebody some shit. Yo, that's what it is, brother. Like I said, let me get these 4 paintings down to the gallery. By that time, shit, I'll be ready to have some lunch and play some video games. When I come back, I'll probably stream my video games if y'all want to check that shit out too. Peace.